Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Zeddy here, and I am back at it again to drop What If Naruto Was Gon's Reincarnation. Now guys, if you guys are here because you probably saw Izukage's video on What If Naruto Was Killua's Reincarnation, and then you were just like, Zedder posted Gon? Let me go watch that real quick, and then you clicked on the video and now you're here. Well, that's exactly what I did. I did it because he posted Killua. So if you are a new viewer and you just clicked on this video and you have no idea who Izukage is, his video on What If Naruto Was Killua's Reincarnation is going to be linked down below in case you guys want to go check it out. It's not going to be a what if movie like this one, but it's part 1. However, he does finish his series in like about a week, so don't worry, it won't really take that long to finish. That being said though, guys, before I do get started, I checked my analytics the other day and I saw that only 31% of you guys are subscribed. So if you could do me the favor, and if you fall into that 70% category, then it'd be pretty appreciated if you gave your boy, you hit that red button, you United States of smashed that like button, you rock paper scissors that like button, you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, this video is going to be a sponsored one, so there will be a little bit of details on that midway through the video. But with that all being said, I hope you guys go on to enjoy the What If. Alright, so we're of course going to be starting off our story when Naruto was born. Now, in this version of events, Naruto's not exactly going to be inheriting any qualities from Gon. Naruto's pretty much just still going to be looking like his normal canon self, and the attack on the Konoha village is pretty much going to fall as it did in the original version. Nothing is really going to start to change up until Naruto basically gets left to live on his own by the Hokage. Which, by the way, quick tangent, why did he do that? That's so effed up on so many different levels. Like, bro, I get it, you're the Hokage, but that also means that you could quite literally tell someone, hey, take care of this kid, or you can, maybe put him in an adoption place or something like that. But damn, this Hokage really said, nah, this man, he don't deserve that. We're gonna straight throw him to live in his own house with ramen and spoiled milk. Yep, a couple blankets right there. Go ahead and make yourself comfy, Naruto. Literally had to go fishing for his own food at one point. That just comes to show you how bad things were. That being said though, tangent aside. Alright, so yeah, Naruto basically, living in his own by himself. Around the age that he turns 4, everything would have basically stuck to how it was in canon. Naruto still has a nine-tailed sword within him, he still has access to chakra, and not only that, he's going to be having access to Nen. However, Naruto still doesn't know that. Naruto is going to have 2 different separate little things that he can take chakra out of and Nen out of. Not only that, but he's still going to have that potential that Gon has in Hunter x Hunter. That 1 in 10 million type potential is definitely going to translate over to his, Nen abilities. When it comes to his chakra, he's going to struggle just like he did in canon. That being said though, this is when we're going to get started. So obviously you guys are probably wondering, how's he going to learn Nen? Like, there's nobody here to teach him. He's not going to open his Nen like his Nen little, I don't know what it's called, but you guys know, like the, how chakra has like the chakra points and all that. Like, you can't just open those nodes without anything, you know what I mean? So it's not like he's just gonna open those randomly the way that they do in Hunter x Hunter. Instead, he's actually going to be learning about Nen through these strange visions that Naruto's going to be getting every now and then. Now, when Naruto gets these visions, it's not going to be what you guys expect. Now, currently in the Hunter x Hunter stuff, I'm pretty sure that the anime isn't done with what the manga's at right now, and stuff's going down in the manga, as that one weeb told me, because I talked to someone before I made this video just to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. Because yeah, I've seen Hunter x Hunter, but I kind of just watched until the end of the anime and pretty much just stopped from there and not really watched too much other than that. I never really understood the Nen system either, so I might mess up here and there a couple of times, but nonetheless, the what if is still going to be fire. That being said though, yeah, Naruto would basically proceed to, well, essentially just have these strange visions, and from that, Naruto would see how Gon pretty much acquired Nen. Now, this would pretty much lead to Gon just being like, oh, sorry, not Gon, but Naruto just being like, all right, so here's what I have to do to basically learn chakra, I mean nen, and he would pretty much just do those easy couple of steps. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's probably not gonna make any sense for him to just get a nen out of nowhere, seeing as nobody can forcibly activate that thing. So plot, he just has it. All right, plot. Okay, I can't really think of any real reason as to why, but because I don't want to get into some convoluted reason, just we're gonna stick with plot and just kind of go off with that. But don't worry guys, I'm not really going to be pulling that card off too much, maybe once or twice in this video. That being said though, this is when Naruto would pretty much go on to, for the next couple of years until he finally makes it to the academy for the ninja students, he would pretty much end up just using this and relying on these visions to pretty much teach himself all of the basics of nen. So, you know, he would end up learning that he's an enhancement type. He would also end up basically learning about Ten, Ren, Hatsu, Gyo, and, you know, his little John Ken Paul or John Ken Rock, you know, those little abilities where he uses the rock paper scissors and stuff like that. He pretty much ends up learning that because, I mean, if not Kilo, but if Gon could do it in like the amount of time that he had, then Naruto can definitely do it during these couple years that he's going to be learning this in. Granted, Gon was older and he did understand what was going on but when it comes to Naruto, he was a little lost when it comes to nen and all this stuff and the basics of it. So it took him a little bit, like double as long to get all that stuff down. But seeing as all he had were little bits and pieces that he had to piece together, it took him all those years to get to the point where Gon was at the time of let's say by the Chimera Ant arc. So he's pretty powerful, and he's about as powerful as Gon was afterwards. So when he uses like the rock, you know, all those little attacks, it's pretty powerful. That being said though guys, this is when we're going to be getting into Naruto's first day at the academy. Now when Naruto enters the academy, he's basically going to go in there as they're doing their little examinations for the little ninja and all that stuff. So everybody would kind of just be lining up, everybody would start doing their little exams and stuff like that. And I want to go get some water. My throat was parched. Pause. But anyways, as I was saying, everybody basically, you know, gets in line. Iruka gives them a little exam. You know, they all take it to see, you know, where they're at. And afterwards, he would pretty much give them like a physical exam. The one that Itachi aced with flying colors in the Itachi novels and stuff like that. As well as in the anime if you watch those couple filler episodes. But that being said though, we would basically get into essentially Naruto kind of just going through that and pretty much destroying everybody else, including Sasuke, in every single aspect. See, Naruto, it's not like he just trained in nen and like that's all he has to fall back on. He is an enhancement type, meaning that Naruto has incredible brute strength. Naruto is definitely broken when it comes to close hand-to-hand combat. And like his just attacks and his speed and all those like movements, his ability to basically track people are very broken. He's about, if I had to compare him to like an actual Naruto character at this point, I would say he's about as strong as Sasuke is by the time that they take their little exam with Kakashi when it comes to his chakra. But he's like about 3 times physically stronger than Sasuke, so it definitely makes a big difference compared to what Sasuke's actual strength is. That being said though, this is when we would essentially have Naruto pretty much going in there, destroying everybody, and seeing as Sasuke isn't on his emo stuff quite yet, he would actually be quite impressed with Naruto. Now, during this time, they're not exactly going to become friends, but they're not going to dislike each other either. Naruto's not going to be annoying in this version of events, and he's kind of just going to be chilling in his own lane, trying to master nen more and more. He would end up learning other little uses of nen, but his favorite kinds would pretty much just be the basics, seeing as he doesn't really need all that crazy stuff. And yeah, that's basically all we're going to be needing. That said, all the nen powers and all the like little Gon stuff have already been put out of the way. So now I bet you guys are probably wondering like, all right, so what's he gonna do when it comes to chakra? Well, he would kind of disregard that, and for the time that he's like basically in the Genin Academy, he would continue to practice with his nen as well as practice his taijutsu prowess, mostly using taijutsu. So his nen prowess would be pretty good, pretty good, but nothing too insane where he's like a master or expert at it. That being said though, guys, this is when we would essentially have the final day of the Chunin Academy, or no, the little Genin Academy stuff happening, and they would be taking their tests. Now you guys are probably like, yo, what happened during that time? Essentially, to give you guys a little bit of a summary of what happened during all that time, Naruto trained Sasuke, Emo, and Sasuke kind of just stayed in his own lane. Naruto didn't really talk to him that much, and Naruto's main friend group was going to be Kiba, no, not Kiba, but Shikamaru and Choji. Seeing as they're the only two people who don't hate Naruto because he's the nine-tailed fox. Sakura also doesn't dislike Naruto, but she's kind of just weary of him because of her mother. When it comes to Ino, she actually kind of thinks that Naruto's a little bit on the hot side, but why'd I do that? But no, yeah, she basically likes Naruto. She pretty much likes Naruto a little bit more than she likes Sasuke, so she would have ended up pestering him a little bit every now and then. Hinata would like Naruto as well, because Naruto isn't gonna be like some cocky person, but he is at the same time in the sense that he's never been beaten before, so he doesn't really know the feeling of losing. He kind of has like a little bit of a Bakugo ego, but he's a nice person overall, where if he was to lose, he'd get, pretty, not liking it, but, I don't know how to explain it. He would be confident, all right? He would be confident with a little bit of an ego and still a kind heart. That's all I needed to say. I could have summarized it so much quicker, but I didn't. That being said though, we would basically have Naruto going through, taking the exam, passing it with flying colors, and taking the little, making the clones and all that stuff. When it comes to that stuff, Naruto during this time would have barely, and I mean barely, been able to make a shadow clone, because he's been practicing for the past like 1 year on how to like use his chakra appropriately. He would have asked Hiruzen to train him a couple of times, but that would have not gone anywhere. He would have just given him some scrolls, and Naruto would have barely been able to pretty much perform the shadow clone jutsu. Now, I just realized that 1 year definitely is too long for that, so let's just say it took him like 3 weeks to finally be able to get it down. That being said though, Naruto would basically go on to pass, and after this we would essentially have Naruto ending up catching a kid who ends up trying to steal the scroll of sealing. Now he would catch him because he would have overheard Mizuki telling the kid about some secret portion to the Chunin exams, and this would lead Naruto to be like, interesting, like new part to the Chunin exams. So he would have of course been a little nosy about it, and when he found out what he wanted, Naruto immediately realized. So he would have caught the kid red-handed and pretty much ended up telling him, yo dude, he tricked you, but don't worry, I'll handle it, just get out of here. The kid would be like, oh really? And he'd be like, thanks Naruto. Now a couple people in Naruto's class, acknowledge him. They don't exactly like fear him or think he's cool, but they acknowledge him. They realize that Naruto is the strongest, so the kid would just be like, thanks. One of the kids who actually does respect Naruto, and he would just go off after as Naruto would end up meeting Mizuki in the spot where he pretty much told the kid to meet him at. And when Naruto was there, Mizuki would be like, Naruto, you're the one who brought me the scroll. He'd be like, no matter, you're gonna suffer the same fate, and after you, I'm gonna go after that kid. As Naruto would be like, absolutely not. And he would pretty much go on to look at his direction, as he would pretty much use Hatsu to pretty much project his nen or his aura onto Mizuki, who has no nen, mind you, and Mizuki passes out. I'm just gonna say it like that. After this, Naruto would quite literally throw him over his shoulders and take him to Hiruzen, as he would just be like, this kid caught him trying to steal the scroll of sealing. Hiruzen would be like, oh, thank you Naruto, as Naruto would end up just nodding and pretty much using the body flicker to get out of there, because the man Naruto is fast. You best believe this man is speed. Now of course he's not Killua, but he's pretty fast, you know what I mean? He's an enhancer. That being said though, we would basically have Naruto go on to essentially go back to class the next day, where they would all be told to wait for their Chunin instructor. Now of course, Kakashi, being who he is going to be taking about 3 hours to finally arrive and get Team 7 from where they are. Now in this version of events, Naruto isn't a troll, but at the same time he kind of is. So I don't think he's going to be putting up the little chalk thing, even though a part of me is telling me maybe do it. But I'm just going to be going with my gut, which is telling me, nah, don't do it. So I'm going to do that. He doesn't end up doing anything, and they just wait. Naruto does get pretty annoyed at this, and so when Kakashi finally arrives, Naruto does give him a little bit of an attitude, because he's like, bro, come on now, like you said 3 hours, like you said a couple minutes, this was 3 hours, buddy, and he's not having a good time at all. But of course, they all meet Kakashi up on the roof, where they would go on to tell him their goals and aspirations for the future. Naruto would tell Kakashi that he wants to be the greatest nen user alive, as well as become the Hokage, someone who everyone can look up to and respect. This is when Sasuke would go be like, I'm gonna kill a certain someone, and I'm gonna avenge my clan, it's a reality. Sakura would go up there like a trash bag, just be like, Sasuke, Sasuke, and I hate Naruto. Well, she wouldn't actually hate Naruto, so, you know, she's not that bitchy in this version. Also, in case you're wondering why I said it like that, I don't want to get a yellow check on the video and, you know, not get monetized, so that's why. Anyways, though, after that, we would basically have Kakashi being poofing into smoke, as they would all just be like, not only was this man 3 hours late, but that was a shadow clone, as they would all just be like, and just basically go home. The very next day, all of them would proceed to not eat except for Naruto, because that man completely forgot what Kakashi said, and so he would end up eating. And when he arrives onto the field and pretty much is ready to take the little Genin exam to be on Kakashi's team, everybody else would be there, and of course they have to wait about 2 hours before Kakashi finally decides to show his sorry face over there. Now Kakashi would of course arrive, to which he would pretty much just proceed to be like, alright guys, so we're gonna be taking the bell test. Everybody would be like, finally. They would get up. Kakashi would explain what the bell test is to his team, as everybody would just be like, alright, that sounds pretty easy, you know, I get the gist of it. That being said though, everybody would kind of get into their positions, as Kakashi would pretty much be like, alright, go. Now, it's at this point that I'm guessing many of you guys are like, alright, so is Naruto gonna go hide because he's gonna be smarter in this version, or is he gonna rush at him? Now I'm about to flip a coin to see what I'm about to do. Give me a second. Psych, you thought I'm not flipping no coin. Naruto would pretty much proceed to look towards Kakashi's direction, as he would immediately proceed to like just blitz at Kakashi. He would throw a powerful kick right at Kakashi's direction, as Kakashi would just block it, and he would realize that he hurt his arm badly. Kakashi's book would get flung out of his hands, as Kakashi's like, oh, so you want to smack my book out of my hand? Ain't no way you about to do that. As he would pretty much proceed to lift up his little blindfold, or no, lift up his headband, as he would reveal the Sharingan. This would cause Sasuke to be like, my clan, and he would rush in and be like, how dare you, that's my clan jutsu. Kakashi would just be like, boy, sit down, as he would pretty much smack Sasuke into the ground using the headhunter jutsu, and Kakashi would just smile as he would look over towards Naruto's direction, but he isn't there. Naruto would be behind him using Ren to power up his aura, as he would pretty much proceed to use John Ken Rock, as he would throw a powerful blow right at Kakashi. Now Kakashi would proceed to pretty much substitute out of there with a wooden, like with a piece of wood that was laying around, as Naruto would punch it, literally atomizing it, like the thing would destroy. And Kakashi, seeing that, would widen his eyes, being like, I'm not getting hit by that. This is when he would look behind him, as Naruto was standing there again, and he would just be like, bro, what is this kid's deal? This is when Kakashi would basically just jump over him and be like, alright, clearly I can't play with this kid, as he would proceed to basically use his own actual speed, because obviously, you know, he revealed his Sharingan, but he was kind of just trolling a little bit, because he wanted Naruto to feel powerful for a second, just for him to destroy those dreams. As he would proceed to basically take off his restraints, quite literally blitzing Naruto and punching him 4 times consecutively in the span of a second. As he would send Naruto flying onto the ground, Naruto would just be like, ugh. How did you? As he would look up at Kakashi, and Kakashi would basically be there as he's getting ready to throw a punch. But the real Kakashi would be right behind Naruto, as he would say, forbidden jutsu, 1,000 years of death, as he would shove his fingers right into Naruto. But joke's on Kakashi, Naruto didn't wipe that morning, and so Kakashi is gonna have to wash that hand. No, I'm totally kidding. No, Kakashi would send Naruto flying, and after this, Naruto would quite literally like hit his fist on the ground, as he would just look over towards Kakashi, as he would have literally caused Sakura and Sasuke to both get binded to the tree. As we would then have Naruto just be like, I wasn't strong enough to beat him? He'd be shocked because at this point Naruto hasn't been beaten by anybody, not even Mizuki or Iruka, who at one point tried to spar with Naruto, but they're in a whole different smaller league of their own when it comes to Kakashi. See, as I said, Naruto, while yeah, he's pretty powerful in his own right, and he probably may have been able to win that battle against Kakashi, when it comes to experience, Naruto is definitely lacking compared to Kakashi's world of experience, because he was in the Great War, he was an Anbu, he does a bunch of hidden leaf village missions, so it kind of stands to reason that Kakashi would overwhelm Naruto no matter how much potential or how good he is at Nen control. That being said though, we would essentially have everybody kind of get stuck to a post except for Naruto, as he was the one who did the best out of all three of them. We would then have Naruto sitting there with 3 plates of food right next to him as he would eat his own and then look at Sasuke as he would say, alright, I gotta feed you or else we're not going to be able to beat this guy. Sasuke would just be like, nah, I can go without eating, as his stomach would growl, and Naruto would just say, I don't want to do this as much as you do, but it's the only way. As Sasuke would say, fine. And he would basically just begin to eat as Naruto just spoon feeds him. Kakashi would watch as Sasuke gets fed the entire plate, and he would then go over to Sakura as he would say, alright, open wide. Sakura would be like, Sasuke, can you feed me? And Sasuke would look at her with this look of just, boy, if you say that again, I promise you I'm gonna tape that mouth shut. And Sakura just looks down, she's like, alright, yeah, Naruto, you could feed me, you know what I mean? Like, you got it. As Naruto would just do just that and pretty much walk over to her as he's like, alright. He ends up feeding her, and after this we would essentially have Naruto pretty much getting jump scared by Kakashi as he would say, you pass, pretty much telling them all that yeah, they passed. I mean, this was literally the only real reason why they did this thing, and so he would pass them, telling them that, you know, people who abandon the rules are scum, but people who abandon their friends are worse than scum, or something like that. I kind of forgot how the saying went, but he would essentially say something along those lines. That being said though, we would essentially have them all going on these weird, really lame missions for about 2 weeks until they finally go over to Hiruzen and basically are like, yo, we need better missions. Kakashi would agree as well, causing Hiruzen to be like, I mean, I see no reason why not to give you guys missions. Naruto's pretty strong, Sasuke's a prodigy, Sakura's a trash bag, but you know, they have Kakashi there as well. And he would just be like, alright, C-rank mission it is. As he takes out a paper and he's like, yo, call Tazuna out. Tazuna would get called out, and of course none of this is actually happening as I'm explaining it, but I'm kind of in like a weird lazy-ish mood, so everything I'm saying, take it with a light grain of salt. Of course Hiruzen's not going to be like, yo, come out here, you know what I mean? He's just going to be formal about it, be like, bring the Tazuna, the bridge builder, outside, you know what I mean? So when you hear me talking my slang and all this stuff, just know, all right, this is not how they actually talk. Naruto would pretty much just proceed to be like, oh, okay, as Tazuna would walk inside a drunken mess, just being like, these kids are the ones that are supposed to protect me, just freaking out like, no way they can protect anything. As when it comes to Naruto, I'm guessing many of you guys are like, yo, what does Naruto look like? What's he talking about? Now, Naruto has blonde hair, and he likes to wear like a dark gray, cool tint hoodie. Like it's like a gray hoodie, but like it's not gray. It's like a gray bluish hoodie color where it's like a dark, and he wears like these black ninja pants as well as like the little shoes that all shinobis wear. And you know, he has like a little bit of a his little Chunin pouch. No, not Chunin pouch, but his gadget pouch and all that stuff. So that's pretty much what Naruto's outfit is. And he has, you know, the Uzumaki symbol on the back of his jacket because, you know, Naruto Uzumaki. That being said, though, Sakura, everybody would pretty much look the same except for Naruto, who would actually be about 5 inches taller than what he is in the original, making a big difference. So when Tazuna sees them all, he kind of just talks a little bit of smack onto Sakura the most because she just looks like, bro, like she has pink hair and she has like a red dress on, wanting to be a ninja. It's not going to go very well if you do that. That being said, Sakura would get pretty angry, like being like, yo, let me at him. Like, I'm about to mess this guy up. Like, he does not know who he's talking to. And, you know, her team would have to hold their back, just being like, yo, I'm going to need you to chill out. All right, chill. As of course, you know, she'd be like, just freaking out, like, you know, going crazy. And everybody would just be like, all right, bro, you need to be quiet. Like, shut your mouth or else I'm going to shut it for you. As of course, this is when we would essentially have, you know, just everybody going to the mission, meeting each other the very next day. Now, as many of you guys would expect, nothing much is really going to be occurring on their way until about 1 hour into the journey. They would of course notice a puddle. Now, just like in the first couple of episodes, the two demon brothers would appear, to which Naruto and Sasuke would both handle before Kakashi even gets the chance to act as if he was stunned or anything. Because, well, Naruto acted, and seeing this, Sasuke was like, oh nah, you're not finna steal all the glory this time, as he pretty much just proceeds to jump at the other Chunin demon mist brother or demon brother and pretty much just proceed to take him out. After this, Kakashi would interrogate them both and seal their bodies inside of a scroll as they would continue their journey. When about 3 hours into it, a thick, that's a thick boy, fog would appear out of nowhere, you know what I mean? As they're all just walking, Kakashi would suddenly scream, "Everybody duck!" As everybody would like jump, Naruto would jump backwards as the blade would go right under him. Sasuke would duck, Sakura would, and Kakashi would pretty much hold out a kunai as he ducks. And this is when everybody would see Zabuza appear on top of the blade as he would say, "Kakashi Hatake of the Hidden Leaf Village. I never thought I would fight the copycat ninja." As Kakashi would just be like, "Zabuza Momoshi." As you know, they have their little stare down and they would proceed to have the fight that would go exactly how it does in canon. Now, you guys are probably wondering, alright, so what's about to happen here? Now, this is when Sasuke would be like, alright, I'm going to save him because Naruto, if he does this, he's going to get all the credit again. Not really because he's jealous or anything like that, but kind of just because he wants to show that he can be just as useful as Naruto. Because he does realize that he's way weaker than him. And at this point, Naruto only knows how to make a shadow clone. So it's like, bro, like, what's going on? Because Sasuke doesn't know that Naruto has access to Nen. I mean, he's never blatantly gone out there and told anybody. But for some reason, people just tend to believe that that's his natural strength because of the Nine Tails. Or that those abilities that he has are, you know, Nine Tails exclusive abilities. Even though that's not how it works, man. It's really not. That being said, though, we would, of course, have Naruto just being like, alright. As you know, we would just have Naruto sitting back and watching as Sasuke would quite literally create a shadow clone and do the same thing that he did with Naruto, just that the thing that is inside of the kunai, like the giant demon wind shuriken stuff, is going to be the real Sasuke when he comes out with his own little kunai and slashes at Zabuza's arm, actually nicking it pretty damn badly. After this, Zabuza would look at Sasuke as he's just like, "You damn brat," as he would basically just look over at Sasuke pretty angry. But right as this is happening, simultaneously Kakashi would be out of the prison as he would immediately see what Zabuza's about to do, and without a second thought would just say water dragon jutsu as he would shoot a gigantic water dragon at Zabuza, which would come flying in, and Zabuza, seeing this, would open both of his eyes pretty widely as the dragon would cause Zabuza to get flung directly into a tree, which would actually cause Haku to actually come out with the mask on and trying to grab Zabuza. But before she can take him, Naruto would walk over to her and be like, "What are you doing here? Put that body down." Haku would immediately look over to Naruto's direction, just seeing a kid, as she's like, oh, she can just lie to him. As she would say, "Oh, I'm a ninja from the Hidden Mist Village, you know, I'm just here to grab the body of Zabuza. It was a great help for you guys to do this for him." As Naruto would just be like, "Oh, really?" As he would just be like, "He's still alive. You didn't finish the job. Finish it." This is when Haku would look and kind of like a sweat drop would come down her face, as we would then basically see Haku grabbing a kunai, but before she gets the chance to do anything, Naruto would just be like, "Nah, not happening." As we would basically have Naruto trying to use his Nen to pretty much enhance himself and jump straight at Haku, as Haku would proceed to straight hold this man. She would quite literally be a shadow clone, as the real Haku would come in at Naruto and proceed to obliterate him. Naruto was caught off guard. Yep, Naruto was caught off guard. You guys are probably like, "Bro, doesn't he have Nen? Like, bro, how did he not see this?" Naruto was too focused on Haku. He was way too focused to realize that that was a clone. And Haku came in right behind him and pretty much proceeded to hit the back of his neck, causing Naruto, to fall down and drop. After this, Naruto would wake up a couple of hours later and pretty much smash his fist into the ground, as he would just be like, "Damn it!" He would just look down at the ground at his bloody knuckle as he would just say, "I promise, I'll never lose again." And this would give him power later on. But more on that later on in the video. That being said though, we would then basically have Naruto and everybody going to Tazuna's place, where they would of course have Tsunami, I'm pretty sure is Tazuna's daughter name, pretty much cook them up a feast, which all of them would go on to enjoy. Kakashi would be knocked out for the next 2 weeks, as we would then basically have them all kind of just chilling. Naruto would continue working on his taijutsu skills, kind of just being pretty angry at the fact that he lost to Haku, promising that if he ever runs into that ninja again, he'll promise to make her pay. Or him because he feels like it was a him. But after that, we would basically just have Naruto clenching his fist, as we would of course get a call in from the house, as it would be Sasuke and everybody else who's just there like, all right, so what do we do? After this, you know, they all kind of just do their own thing, seeing as they're not really too united as a team quite yet. And we would basically just have a couple of moments here and there where Sasuke and Naruto talk to each other. Sasuke at one point would end up asking Naruto help with taijutsu training, and Naruto would be like, you know what, sure. As you know, he is pretty kind-hearted, so it's not like he's just going to sit there and just deny Sasuke that, you know what I mean? He would actually ask Sasuke why it is that he feels the need to be better than everybody. As Sasuke would, after hearing this, just be like, he would say, it's not that I feel the need to be better than everybody. It's that I feel the need to be better than one person. And it just so happens that that person is better than But before he can finish that sentence, Naruto would just look at Sasuke and say, there's not a person alive who's better than everybody. Or at least not yet. But one day there will be. When I become a ninja, a full-fledged one, the Hokage, I'll be the most powerful ninja in existence. Sasuke, after hearing this, would kind of just look at Naruto, as he would see that glimmer inside of Naruto's eye, that ambitious like look in his eye, as Sasuke would just kind of gulp and be like, maybe. They would go back to training, where Naruto would proceed to clap Sasuke for the following next couple of weeks, as we would essentially have Kakashi wake up and begin to teach them all how to water walk, how to tree climb or whatever. Now Naruto would actually end up learning how to tree walk only, just like in the original canon, because he still doesn't find out how to water walk until he meets Jiraiya. That being said though, we would basically have them all do the bridge builder stuff. And I'm guessing many of you guys are wondering, alright, so did Tsunami and like, what's his name? Tazuna's grandson, Inari, get killed because, you know, Naruto's gonna be on time? Nope. Naruto still oversleeps. I mean, Naruto's still Naruto, you know what I mean? He's a cocky, confident, he's stronger, but Naruto's still Naruto at heart. You know, he practiced a little harder than he should have last night, and so he was late. They just let him sleep in. When the two thugs came in, Naruto took care of them and ended up pretty much blitzing back over to the battlefield, where when he arrived, he pretty much saw the situation with Sasuke and Haku happening. Except instead of being dumb like he was in the original, Naruto would quite literally just proceed to stand outside, as he would proceed to essentially just begin to use his enhancement Nen, as he would proceed to use Ren, powering up his aura, and then yell, John, Ken, rock, as he would proceed to basically destroy the ice crystal mirrors, as we would have Haku being completely thrown off by that. And at this point, Sasuke was alone a little bit longer than in canon, so he was able to activate his Sharingan in this version of events. And so we would pretty much have a Sasuke being able to lunge at Haku, trying to hit her, but missing, as Haku would throw a Senbon right into Sasuke's neck, causing Sasuke's body to drop down onto the ground limp. Naruto, seeing that, would have his eyes widen, as he just became friends with Sasuke. He just got a little bit of a bond with him, as Naruto would get pretty angry, and his eyes would shift from his normal color to red, as at this point that a gigantic aura of both Nen and Chakra would explode off of Naruto, as he would look at Haku and be like, I'll kill you. He would rush at Haku, as he would just say, John, Ken, rock, literally punching a hole straight inside of Haku, destroying him. And simultaneously, we would have Kakashi destroying Zabuza as well. So that's pretty much where the little wave arc would pretty much end. After this, of course, they would end up building the bridge, and not Tazuna's men, but Gato's men would end up, of course, arriving on the bridge, doing their normal stuff that they do in canon, where, you know, they arrive and they cause some trouble for everybody, pretty much making everybody's life miserable. But this time when they do that, they would actually end up getting met face to face with an enraged Naruto, who thinks that Sasuke just died. And so he still needs to vent a little bit. So you know what he does? he proceeds to quite literally massacre them all. We're talking the Uchiha Massacre Part 2.5. You know what I mean? So it's pretty crazy. And after this, we would basically just have them all build the bridge. You know, Sasuke wakes up. Naruto realizes, oh, damn, Sasuke didn't actually die. Let's go. And we would basically have Naruto essentially just learning what's called a couple more basics of chakra. Pretty much ended up mastering that multi-shadow clone jutsu technique, which he had mastered before because, as I said, Mizuki's stuff did happen, so he did have a chance to look at the scroll. But that aside, you know what would be a really cool move for Naruto to have as well? The flying. Imagine a flying Raijin Gon. Like, he comes in and teleports behind you and just uses the Jun Ken pull or the Jun Ken rock punch and all that stuff. That would be broken. Because like he has an incredible amount of nen, and you know what I mean, like he also uses chakra to enhance his body, he uses nen to enhance his body, he goes crazy berserk. Bro, that just sounds like an instant death right there. That doesn't sound like it'll be anything that anybody can survive. So I might teach it to him during the little 3-year time skip. Who knows? We'll come to that when we come to that. That being said, though, guys, I do have a question for you guys. Would you guys be interested in a what if Naruto was Kurapika's reincarnation? Because I think it would actually it'd be pretty dope if I had like a Naruto which, you know, ended up making a contract against the Akatsuki on some Killua versus the Spiders type stuff. You know what I mean? It'd be a pretty cool thing. Maybe I can even have that one weeb hop onto the video for like a little cameo, maybe in the beginning or like midway, just to explain his basic abilities. Okay, so I know you guys probably just heard that noise, and to explain what happened, my boys pulled up, my gym bros, and they literally banged on my window to be like, yo, it's time to go to the gym, because I wasn't picking up my phone because I was recording this. And currently it's the next day because after the gym I got home way too tired to finish recording this what if, and so I split it up into 2 days, even though it was supposed to be one. But I took a little longer scripting the what if, or just coming up with a couple of ideas for what I wanted to do with the what if in general. And so I ended up having to listen back to my own self talking about the what if, and I realized one thing when I was doing that. I didn't really explain too well what ended up happening after, you know, what's it called? After Naruto basically exploded with Nen. I just realized that I kind of kept that a little bit of a secret. Now, do you guys remember when I said that Naruto would slam his fist into the ground, basically promising that he would never lose again? When Naruto did that, he essentially made a Nen contract, which allows him to essentially access the adult Gon form mode anytime that he's in a battle. And I'm guessing many of you guys are probably wondering how that's gonna work, because that transformation isn't supposed to be something that he can use like all the time. You know, it's something that's like it just made him run out of Nen and all that stuff. But instead of that, what I pretty much had happened was that his condition was basically that if he were to lose with that power still, he would die. Like, and it's kind of like a weird double-edged sword, because once we get to the Madara stuff, it's gonna be a little crazy. But not to worry though, guys, because you know, we still have a long way to go. You never know. Our boy Naruto might get strong enough to be able to defeat people like that, but you never know though. That being said though, that's pretty much what Naruto's little Nen contract is, and that's basically why he's going to be able to access that much Nen. Now, that being said, when he started freaking out, he pretty much destroyed Haku, pretty much continuing to punch her face in a bunch of times. As Haku didn't actually end up, you know, basically cutting off Naruto's arm because he's not dumb like Gon. And he pretty much just proceeded to be beating on her until all of Gato's men and himself arrived. After this, Naruto would pretty much proceed to look at his direction and massacre the entirety of his army. And afterwards, Naruto would kind of just be losing himself in an uncontrollable rage where he's kind of just angry and his eyes are just filled with this void after he just saw his friend Sasuke quote unquote die. However, Naruto would basically turn over to Sasuke's direction where he would see Sasuke coughing, and Naruto, realizing that he's not dead, would basically like widen his eyes and his expression would change as he would go back to like a sort of relieved state. As after this, they all pretty much just ended up doing like recovery and helping out with the bridge, and they ended up returning to the land of the hidden Leaf Village. After this though is where we're now going to be hopping back into where I had left off yesterday. Okay, so If you guys hear any yelling in the background, by the way, before I do keep going, I do apologize. My family, they're pretty loud. I tell them every like now and then, they're like, hey guys, please keep it down, but they don't really listen that much. That being said though, guys, yeah, so everybody would pretty much begin to make their way towards the Hidden Leaf Village, where they would all essentially arrive. Now, when they all get there, this is when, you know, of course, Naruto would end up seeing Konohamaru. Now, this version of Naruto and Konohamaru don't exactly have the same relationship, but Naruto would notice that Konohamaru ran and turned towards the corner. Naruto would be, of course, aware that Konohamaru is the third Hokage's grandson, because he ended up meeting him in the room with Tazuna when he ended up basically receiving the C rank mission. So did everybody in Team 7's squad. That being said, though, Naruto is aware that, you know, that is the third Hokage's grandson. And so when he turns the corner, he would actually see Konohamaru getting picked up by his collar by Kankuro, as Kankuro would basically just tell him, you got some kind of death wish, kid? He would just basically be threatening Konohamaru and terrifying him. As Naruto would turn the corner, he would see this, he'd get pretty pissed off, and he would immediately pretty much proceed to essentially he would pretty much proceed to use Hatsu to project his Nen onto Kankuro, as Kankuro would pretty much just proceed to SHIT himself. He would shit himself, alright? I don't know why I abbreviated that instead of saying what the actual word was. But yeah, he would do that, and he would drop Konohamaru so fast. And the other two people, which are Tamari and Gaara, would just be wondering why, you know, Kankuro reacted the way that he did. I mean, they don't sense anything. And after this, Naruto would just tell Konohamaru to get out of there, as Naruto wouldn't even question them, and he would proceed to essentially just tell him never to put his hand on a kid from the village ever again, as he would end up just leaving, and Kankuro would just be sitting there on the ground, kind of sweating and panting. As after this, we would of course have them all go back, and the very next day they would be called by Kakashi. Kakashi would proceed to essentially explain that they're going to be taking the Chunin exams, where he would explain the rules, the fact that they're going to be needing to get into 3-man squads, and yada yada yada. You guys know what's about to go down. That being said though, we would essentially have them all, of course, you know, be told by Kakashi, and all of them would pretty much accept. This is when all of them would pretty much have their own individual small little tests, if you guys remember from Naruto, where they all had to get like these little tests and beat like their own different bad guy in order to be able to take the Chunin exams. They would of course all pass, with Sakura barely passing just like she did in canon, and everybody kind of just going towards the Chunin exams. We're gonna pretty much just skip on over to the day where they're walking in there. Now, I'm guessing many of you guys are probably going to be like, oh, I can't wait till Rock Lee fights Sasuke. Now, in this version of events, I kind of don't want to waste my time on talking about how Rock Lee whoops Sasuke, because even if they were to fight, he's still getting whooped. So I'm just going to say Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke end up acknowledging, you know, Genjutsu, and they go to the actual waiting room of the little Chunin exams way faster than canon, leading to them basically not running into Team Guy. And so Rock Lee never gets a chance to fight Sasuke, but Rock Lee is still of course going to be determined, and maybe might fight him during the Chunin exams itself. Who knows? We'll see. That being said though, we would basically have a little thing where Naruto just proceeds to be like, I wonder who's gonna win. As internally, he would just be like, come on now, bro. You already know I'm gonna win. But this is when all of them would kind of just be looking at Naruto's direction. And Naruto would pretty much just use his, his Ren to power up his aura. As people can feel this aura of Nen coming off of Naruto, even people who don't use Nen, and they're just like, yup, not messing with that kid over there. As you know, we would basically just have them all pretty much going over to Ibiki's area, where they would all take their test. Now everybody passes. Naruto still ends up passing, because it's not like he's gonna give up on anything as small as this, you know what I mean? And so we would essentially just have Naruto going outside, where he would pretty much just proceed to just stand there as Anko gives the orders. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you boys, Naruto would look at Anko, and the man would just be like, yep, I like what I see. Naruto would just be checking Anko out, as Anko would notice this and throw a kunai straight at Naruto's direction. Naruto would quite literally just pretty much use his Nen to pretty much just use his I don't know why I'm struggling so much with saying this, but he would essentially just use his Nen and activate 10, you know, defensive aura, as the kunai would essentially bounce off of Naruto. After this, we would essentially have Naruto looking over towards Anko, as she's just like, what? Like the kunai bounced off of him. She's just thinking that it's some sort of weird jutsu, and she would continue explaining. Orochimaru gives her back the little kunai because he's a weirdo and he licks his lips and does all that weird stuff. And afterwards, they are all pretty much granted their Earth Scroll and Heaven Scroll, as they are all pretty much thrown into the forest where they sign their waivers, pretty much saying, yup, I'm cool with dying, bro. Like, it's nothing but a thing, you know what I mean? Like, Chunin, I'm down to die over a ranking, you know what I mean? It's so dumb, dude. Like, bro, come on now. But yeah, that's not the point. Anyways, everybody would go inside where Naruto would pretty much just proceed to be like, I gotta go take a leak. Sasuke would and Sakura would kind of just wait there, as Naruto would, you know, kind of just turn the corner where he would pretty much be really close to his team. Not like last time where he went away pretty far to go take his leak. In this version, he's kind of just gonna go a little decent away. He's gonna do his thing, you know what I mean? And this is when a gigantic snake would come in out of nowhere. Now this gigantic snake, being of course one of Orochimaru's, would rush straight at Naruto. As Naruto, seeing this, would look up at the snake, and before the snake was able to actually do a thing to him, Naruto proceeds to essentially jump up, as his stream would fall all over the snake's head. And after this, Naruto would just be like, ah, that felt so much better. This is when Naruto would just proceed to be like, alright, as he would proceed to pretty much use his enhancement nen to pretty much just clobber the snake. He would clobber the head of the snake in so many times, the snake has like bruises all over the head, and it dies. After this, Naruto would basically just be getting looked at by Sasuke. He's like, did I just see what I thought I just saw? Naruto would say, yeah, big deal, you know, you saw my slong. As Sasuke would just be like, I didn't just see it, man. I think a little fell in my mouth. No, I'm just playing. That doesn't happen. But Sasuke, you know, he kind of just is impressed with the fact that Naruto was able to react, even though, you know, there was this giant snake getting him when he was off guard. That being said, though, we would essentially have Naruto just kind of being like, all right, so what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to ambush people, or do you want to wait for people to come to us? Now, Sasuke, being the person he is, would say that we definitely have to ambush people. Naruto would say that, yeah, he was thinking of doing the same thing. He would proceed to basically use, he would pretty much proceed to activate Gyo, as he would begin to just look around searching for any enemies, where he would see one person approaching them at a very, very fast speed. This person would of course be Orochimaru, but Naruto wouldn't be aware of this. Naruto would realize one thing: the person that's coming towards them is extremely dangerous and powerful. And Naruto would tell both of his teammates to pretty much be on high alert. Orochimaru would land there, where he would basically still be wearing the mask, and Sasuke and Naruto would both rush at Orochimaru. Now, they would both kind of just be testing Orochimaru a little bit, to which it kind of just looks like a pretty stalemate battle, where Orochimaru's not going all out and neither are Sasuke and Naruto, but they're definitely putting in a solid amount of effort into trying, you know what I mean? And so we would basically have Naruto just be like, all right, so what do I do? As we essentially have them keep fighting until they're essentially just like, all right, it's time to step it up a notch. And once they do that, Naruto would pretty much end up landing a blow right on Orochimaru's face, which would cause Orochimaru to little face paint or mask or whatever that thing was to pretty much get flung off of his face, excuse me, I'm sorry about that, but revealing that he is in fact Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sanins. Now, none of them would actually be aware of who this is, because it's not like any of them care about that stuff. But when they see this, they're like, we definitely got to take this guy seriously. He's like, he was using a jutsu very advanced. And Sasuke would proceed to pretty much go all out, activating his Sharingan to its one Tomoe state. And Naruto would end up pretty much activating his, he would pretty much just use the enhancement nen to, well, enhance himself, as he would be using Ten to pretty much, heighten his defensive capabilities, rushing in at Orochimaru, as Orochimaru lands a couple good taijutsu blows, but seeing as Naruto has both Nen and a chakra wall between his skin, it's a pretty hard thing to penetrate. Think Raikage, the third Raikage, when it comes to how strong and durable this little fence or little aura blocking thingy is. I don't know if you guys can hear the background, but there's like this car beeping really loudly. If you can, I do apologize for that, but nothing I can really do. That being said though, they would basically just continue to fight with Orochimaru. Naruto would rush at Orochimaru as he would jump up into the air and throw a multitude of kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Orochimaru blocking all 4 of them and then basically throwing Naruto back. As this is happening, Sasuke would rush in and say, "Fire style! Fireball jutsu!" As he would shoot it, and Naruto getting flung back would say, "Wind style! Wind bullet jutsu!" Shooting a gigantic burst of flames right at Orochimaru. Now Orochimaru would fling back and basically just proceed to open his mouth as he would proceed to take out a gigantic sword. This is when Naruto would look towards Orochimaru's direction and just be like, "Ah shit, here we go again." As you know, we would of course have Orochimaru rushing at Naruto's direction as he would slash, and Naruto would use the Jonken, I don't know what the name is for the scissors, but the scissors, Jonken scissors, alright, I'm just gonna say that. Jonken scissors, as we would basically have, what's it called? We would essentially have Naruto pretty much putting up the same amount of strength and durability as Orochimaru's blade, causing Orochimaru's, I'm pretty sure it's the Kusanagi blade, correct me if I'm wrong, but to pretty much get negated. As after this, Orochimaru would be in a state of shock, but behind him, Sasuke would come in as he would create another jutsu. He would say flame dancing jutsu, I don't know what it's called, but he would just name a fireball jutsu, and you know, of course, it would pretty much proceed to burn Orochimaru. Now Orochimaru is a little damaged from that, but it's nothing Orochimaru can't handle. And after this, Orochimaru would go over to a separate tree where he would look towards Naruto and Sasuke, and he would say, "Step out of my way, Naruto." As you know, Naruto would just be like, "I can't do that." And Orochimaru would flare up his aura. It would actually cause Naruto to get pretty terrified, because up until this point, Naruto hasn't felt an aura quite like Orochimaru's. I mean, Kakashi was able to best him not too long ago, and now here comes Orochimaru, who's flaring up his aura, who's like at least 4 times stronger than Kakashi at this point. And so Naruto is pretty scared. And so at this point, he pretty much starts losing the battle against Orochimaru. He and Sasuke begin to slowly get their cheeks clapped, you know what I mean? And we would basically just have Naruto getting done kind of dirty by Orochimaru. Orochimaru's landing blows left and right, and Naruto cannot do a single thing about it. Those blows are landing incredibly fast, and Naruto is trying his absolute hardest to block these blows, but they're hard to block, dude. Like, these blows are not no joke. Like, they're incredibly fast. And so we would basically have Naruto getting angrier and angrier as, you know, we would of course have Sasuke come in, where Orochimaru would punch Naruto off of him and bite Sasuke straight on his neck, causing Sasuke to fall down into the ground and pretty much start screaming in agony, just being like, "Ah!" As Naruto, seeing this, would basically snap. Once again, that gigantic adult Naruto form would kick in, and we would basically have a gigantic Gon looking, Naruto looking fusion thing that's just standing there looking big, like big. Now Orochimaru, sensing the amount of chakra that is going off of Naruto, is terrifying him, because he's not using the chakra of the Nine Tails. It's not being used. It's literally using all the chakra that he would have amounted in the time of his prime. So like, think like Boruto era Naruto. Naruto is allowing so much power to get off of him. Orochimaru is shitting bricks right now, and he pretty much just reverse summons himself out of there as fast as he possibly can. Naruto quite literally grabs Orochimaru before he even gets the chance, because I know I said he reverse summons himself, but he tries it. He tries it and he fails, because Naruto grabs Orochimaru by the throat and pretty much proceeds to grab him as he would just start smashing him through countless amounts of trees, just saying, "How could you do that to Sasuke?" As he would smash him through more and more trees. Orochimaru's body would start going limp a little bit as he would break a couple bones and ribs, and Naruto would pretty much just begin to beat in Orochimaru's head like a piece of pulp. A little piece of snake would come off of Orochimaru as he would be able to survive in that way, and we we would essentially have Naruto just being like, yep, you gonna die. As Orochimaru is just this little tiny snake, and that's really all that's left of Orochimaru. As Naruto's still going crazy, and then we have Sakura just being like, Naruto! As Naruto finally snaps out of it, looking towards her direction, she says, we need to help Sasuke. Naruto then grabs Sakura, putting her on his back as well as Sasuke as he would blitz over towards the tower. Now, Naruto would have the Heaven Scroll, or whatever scroll it is that they need to pass, because Orochimaru just so happened to have it on him, and Naruto definitely took it from him, or so Orochimaru dropped it. Now, they would arrive there where Sasuke would get immediate medical treatment, and he would basically be put in this like state of kind of like just a fever. He would kind of be feeling as if he have a fever. His body is warm, and he's pretty much just going through what he did in canon, pretty much going through that curse mark phase. As we would of course then have a couple of days happen where Sasuke gets a full recovery, and so the curse mark is there, but Kakashi would have actually sealed it before Sasuke even got the chance to use the power of the curse mark. Anko being there luckily was able to identify it, and Kakashi sealed it before Sasuke even had a taste of the power. As we would basically now have Naruto and everybody else go on to have their little battles, which they do in this version. Now, of course, Naruto versus Kiba. I want to ask you guys something, a little question. How do you guys think that Naruto versus Kiba would go if I was to hypothetically do it? Well, I'm gonna tell you guys don't have to guess. Naruto and Kiba would both get into the ring, as they would be like the fourth match, as you know, we would have basically already had Sasuke fight against his own person and the rest of the other people fight against their own, as we would basically just have Naruto and Kiba step on into the ring. Kiba would look at Naruto as he would say, I finally get to get my revenge, Naruto. It's been a while since you used me as a punching bag, hasn't it? Naruto would just start chuckling and be like, it has been. As he would say, want me to remind you what that feels like? Kiba would smirk and say, me and Orochimaru have grown way stronger. There's no way you're gonna be able to do that to us anymore. As he would say, fang over fang, rushing straight at Naruto, to which Naruto would pretty much just begin to use his Nen to enhance his body, as he would enhance his defensive capabilities using Ten, pretty much catching Kiba and Orochimaru in their fang over fang attack. As they're spinning, Naruto would catch each of them with one hand and slam them into the ground, as Kiba and Orochimaru would both get knocked out instantly. After this, we would have the rest of the battles occurring, which means Neji versus Hinata, Gaara versus Rock Lee, and all of those events pretty much end up going as they do in canon. Now, Naruto in this version does get extremely angry, borderline about to activate his Nen form, but he's not fighting, so if he was to do that, he probably would have died. Like all jokes aside, because if he activates it through rage and not because he's losing in a battle, it's gonna have major backlash. But seeing as he does have Kurama with him, I don't know if he would even die if he was to use it in that like sluggish, crazy way of sacrificing everything. That being said though, we would basically just have everybody have their 1 month of training. And I'm guessing many of you guys are wondering, alright Zether, what's going on? What's going to happen during this 1 month? Well, as for Sasuke, he would end up training with Kakashi, as Kakashi would be the one supervising his training. Naruto would continue to actively, train with using his Nen, trying to master his Nen abilities more and more and more as the days go by. Also working on his taijutsu prowess, and also working on a little bit of oh my god, also working on his chakra prowess and all that stuff. That being said, we would basically have everybody kind of just working on their own little things, and this is when Naruto one day would decide that he's earned a little bit of a day off, where he would end up going to the hot springs, where he would end up meeting Pervy Sage, or aka Jiraiya Sensei, the most legendary white-haired ninja of all, the perv himself, Jiraiya. As we would basically just have Naruto looking at Jiraiya, just being like, who are you? Jiraiya would look at him as he would say, my name is Jiraiya, and I'm the legendary Sannin, trying to impress Naruto, but Naruto would just be like, and what's that? As he would explain who the legendary Sannin is, like saying Orochimaru Tsunade, and Naruto would just be like, oh, Orochimaru, I killed that guy. Jiraiya would just be like, what? As Naruto would just be like, yeah, I fought against that guy. So you're about as strong as he was? Naruto would begin to get a little bit excited because Naruto does like fighting. And so he would just ask Jiraiya if he would be willing to spar with him. Now Jiraiya would be like, that's like the first time I've ever heard anybody like call me out like that. Sure, kid, why not? Now Jiraiya and Naruto would get into their own little corners of the ring, hypothetically speaking, as they would both pretty much just get into their own little areas, preparing themselves each to fight against each other. Now, Naruto would proceed to essentially look towards Jiraiya's direction, as he would begin to use his Nen to coat his body in a defensive aura, as well as powering himself up using Ren, where he would essentially proceed to blitz at Jiraiya, and Jiraiya wouldn't even see Naruto's movement. He has chakra and Nen to enhance his speed and strength. What do you think is going to happen? He's borderline as fast as Killua using Godspeed, as he would blitz by Jiraiya, and Jiraiya would get caught off guard. Naruto would throw a spinning back kick right at Jiraiya, right at his head, as Jiraiya would pretty much just proceed to use his jutsu where he turns his hair into like porcupine type things, as Naruto would kick right into that, and Jiraiya would get blown back pretty far. Now, Naruto would get hurt because it's like pokey hair, you know what I mean? Like, it would hurt anybody. And Naruto would just be like, as he would stick out the needles. Jiraiya would then rush at him, just be like, yep, can't play with this kid, as he just says, Rasengan! Creating a gigantic Rasengan, getting ready to rush it into Naruto, just thinking that if he doesn't survive this, then he isn't Minato's son. As we would basically have Jiraiya rushing at Naruto. Naruto would quite literally take one step back, grab Jiraiya's arm that has the Rasengan in it, and pretty much spin it, as he would almost fracture Jiraiya's arm, pretty much spraying it a little bit, and Jiraiya would fall down onto one knee as he's like, I yield, because Naruto's holding him in a position where he can break Jiraiya's arm at any moment. Now Jiraiya would be like, yeah, you're definitely strong. Naruto would end up training with Jiraiya for the next following month, saying, you too, old man, as Jiraiya would end up actually teaching Naruto chakra control for the following month, as well as how to access the Nine Tails chakra by will. Now, this version of Naruto was way stronger physically than the Naruto that we have in canon. So I'm going to be saying that he actually has a full access to one entire tail of the Nine Tails. 2 if he's enraged. So, you know, that's actually pretty good when you think about it. But that being said, we would basically have them all return to the Chunin exams, where they would all have their 1 month battle. Now, Naruto is still going to be fighting Neji, and Naruto's not going to be playing no games. During this time, Naruto used his chakra, and he ended up learning the Nine Tails stuff. Naruto decided that he was essentially going to embarrass Neji by using the exact same thing that Neji uses to destroy him with, taijutsu. As soon as the bout starts and the whistle is blown, or whatever it is that they did to pretty much indicate the beginning of a fight, all of them would essentially like just look towards Naruto, as he would begin to use his Nen to essentially enhance his physical features, as well as pretty much just get stronger by using chakra, you know, having all of his fists getting coated by it, which is how Sakura gets all of her monster strength. So just imagine Nen on top of that, and you get a pretty big, like, gigantic thing. But don't actually think Sakura's strength, because it's not like he's anywhere near that level. He's about like half of that. But with Nen, he's pretty much at Sakura's incredible monster strength and then some. And so we would basically have Neji rushing into Naruto, as Neji would not be expecting the speed that Naruto displays, on par with that of like 5th Gate Lee's speed, as Neji would just get shocked. And it's at this point that Naruto would quite literally throw a spinning kick right at Neji, which Neji would have to use the 100 spinning rotation palm to pretty much block that. As after this, we would essentially have Naruto just standing there as he walks over to Neji, who after that one kick was blown back so incredibly hard that Neji just collapsed after hitting the ground. And after this, Naruto would walk over to Neji as he would say, "You done yet?" As he just looks over Neji, who's just sitting there panting, just like, "How did you?" As Naruto would just look at Neji and quite literally proceed to spit on him. As Neji gets angry, the man stands back up, using nothing but his anger to pretty much use that as a rage boost and rush at Naruto. Neji would begin to throw a bunch of palm attacks, which Naruto would quite literally dodge so easily. And at one point, Naruto would just decide to stop dodging, as he would let Neji hit about 23 chakra points, cutting off a huge amount of access to them. But then flexing by deactivating his chakra and just relying on Nen to literally curb stop Neji and put him in his place, reminding Neji that he's not the strongest. Naruto is. Naruto would look at Neji as he would smirk, and he would just knock him out. After this, we would have the fight between Sasuke and Gaara, which essentially goes the same as it does in canon. Now, when Gaara ends up running off, Sasuke and Naruto would both begin to chase him, as Sasuke and Naruto would do their own little part of the deal, and back in the village, everything that happened originally in canon would still be happening. The only real difference here being that Naruto in this version is now going to be helping Sasuke way sooner than what he did in the original canon, and not only that, but he's going to be having way more energy and stamina left. So when they end up actually catching up towards Gaara, they would of course see the Sand brother and sister Temari and Kankuro. Kankuro, remembering what kind of aura Naruto has, would kind of just be like, Temari, we should just let him go. And she would kind of protest that, leading to Naruto having to stay back, as he ends up folding Temari and Kankuro completely like lawn chairs, you know what I mean? And after this, we would essentially have Naruto catching back up to Sasuke, where Sasuke would just be like, huh, I was waiting for you, loser. As we would then have Naruto just letting out a chuckle, as, no, he wouldn't say that, he would say, Baka, I was waiting for you, Baka. As we would then basically have, I'm guessing after hearing that, you guys are like, what? Is Sasuke Killua's reincarnation? No, he's not Killua's reincarnation, but I mean, even if he was, it kind of would make sense, since Sasuke's little main thing is the Chidori, which is like this lightning fueled attack. Honestly, I might give Sasuke the lightning coat that the Raikage uses as like a little bit of a Godspeed substitute-ish thingy. But we'll get to that when we get to that. That being said, though, we would basically have Naruto and Sasuke both tag teaming, both tag teaming Gaara. Now, Naruto would end up summoning Gamabunta, as I never really went too in depth with the 1 month training, but it pretty much went as it did in canon. Naruto bonded with Jiraiya quite a bit, ended up learning the Rasengan and learned the summoning jutsu, as well as how to control his normal chakra. Naruto's a little bit better at controlling his chakra than he is in the original canon, however, because he did practice it now and then, you know what I mean? It's not like he just completely never did anything with it. Even though Nen is pretty broken and is almost the same thing, he still wants to be able to use both of the abilities. That being said, we would essentially have Naruto proceeding to be on Gamabunta, as Sasuke is the one who's actually in charge of knocking Gaara back into consciousness. So Sasuke is the one who ends up jumping off of Gamabunta and actually headbutting Gaara, causing Gaara to snap out of it, and the One-Tailed Shukaku would lose its gigantic One-Tails form. As Gaara would proceed to pretty much plummet at the ground, Sasuke would and Gaara would pretty much get caught mid-air by Gamabunta's gigantic hand, as he would set them both on the ground, and Naruto would desummon Gamabunta, just looking up at Sasuke, as Sasuke just looks proud of himself, man. Sasuke literally just finished tag teaming the One-Tailed Jinchuriki alongside Naruto, and even though Naruto summoned the thing that caused them to be able to get the upper hand, Sasuke was at the end of the day the one who ended up dealing the finishing blow. So Sasuke feels pretty good about himself, but they're all gonna feel pretty bad when they get back to the village and find out Hokage Lord Third, he died. So rest in peace. And when it comes to other villagers, rest in peace, because all of them died. All right, they're dead, like they're not coming back. That being said, though, we would essentially have everybody kind of just start reconstruction, as Jiraiya would be like, yo, Naruto, my boy, you trying to go on a little 1 month journey with me or whatever, trying to go find little legendary Tsunade? As Naruto's like, if she's about as strong as you or that white guy were, then I'm so ready. As we would essentially have Naruto just being like, yeah, sure, why not? And, you know, he would end up going with the journey. Now, Naruto would actually end up inviting Sasuke, because in this version of events, they acknowledge each other way more than they do in canon. While they may not have the same amazing relationship that they do in canon, and by amazing, I may be exaggerating just a little bit, but maybe not really. That being said, though, you know, they would all pretty much just get all their stuff together, get ready, and they would end up just kind of getting ready to go on their journey. Naruto would look in his side of his back, because he would say, oh crap, I forgot my fandom merch. And this is what I'm going to be telling you guys about the sponsor of today's video, Fandom. Alright, so Fandom is basically an anime online merch apparel store where you guys can get to by going down below into the links down below in my description. Now, one of those will take you guys to their MHA exclusive merch, and the other will basically take you guys to all of their anime apparel options. Up on screen right now, you guys should see a couple of selections that they have on their store. Not to say that this is all that they have available. They have hoodies, shirts, jackets, pants, sweatpants. You know, they pretty much have anything you can really think of, and they have all the mainstream animes. If you wanted to, you could kind of just go on there and browse real quick. I promise you guys, you would at least see one thing that you guys are going to be wanting from their store. Not only that, but half of their items right now are going to be 50% off. And not only that, but you guys can even get an extra 5% off if you use my code ZETHER when you guys are checking out. So with that being said, please go down below and click that link. At least check out fandom, and if you don't like anything, then you know it's all good. Or if you simply can't buy anything, it's all good too. Just watch the ads on the video, you know, it helps out the channel that way too. That being said though, guys, let's get right back into the story. Alright, so getting back to the little journey that they're all going to be having, seeing as Sasuke is actually going to be a part of it this time, we're kind of just going to be skipping over to the juicy part. Now, during that time, Naruto wouldn't have really been learning too much, and since Sasuke's with Naruto, they're kind of training together. So we're kind of just going to skip over to the time where, you know, Itachi and Kisame arrive. Now, when this happens, Naruto would use his, his gyo, I believe that's what it is, to pretty much see through the door, as he would proceed to see, yup, two guys out there. And so, Naruto would proceed to pretty much tell Sasuke to create a clone and leave them in the room. As Sasuke would do just that, Naruto would tell Sasuke that to hold on to him, as they would both pretty much use the he wouldn't say hold on to me, but they would use the transformation jutsu to pretty much transform into common things in your everyday hotel room. Sasuke, Itachi, and Kisame would walk in there, as Kisame would rush at Naruto, pretty much stabbing his blade right into him, just be like, "You're coming with us." As we would then have Naruto, you know, pretty much go off in a cloud of smoke, as we would then basically have Kisame getting caught off guard by the real Naruto, as Naruto would basically de-transform from what he was built like, as he would say, "John can rock," pretty much throwing the blow straight at Kisame, as Kisame narrowly dodges because Itachi was actually able to react to it using his Sharingan, pushing Kisame out of the way. And after this, we would have Sasuke de-transform as well, as he would say, "I finally get to kill you." He would say, "Chidori," as he would pretty much begin to create the hand signs and rush at his brother Itachi. He would say, "This is for everything," as he would begin to rush at Itachi, just being like, "You're done for." And he would rush at Itachi, as Itachi gets basically hit head on by Chidori. Or so that's what I would like to say, but yeah, that's not what happens. Sasuke would miss, and the same situation that happens in canon would happen. Psych, I lied. No, it doesn't. Naruto actually ends up kicking Itachi before Itachi is able to tell Sasuke that he doesn't have enough hate, meaning that Sasuke is not going to go down the same dark path that he does in canon, saving me the time of an entire arc. Now, some of you guys are probably thinking that like, "Yo, you did that just to be lazy, didn't you?" No, this version of Naruto's not going to get punked by Kisame. It's not happening. So when Naruto was basically rushed at again by Kisame, Naruto pretty much slid right under Kisame's legs and punched Kisame right in the family jewels, causing those little shark balls to drop. And after this, Naruto rushed over as he helped Sasuke out with his brother. Now Sasuke would end up pretty much jumping back, using a gigantic fireball jutsu to create some distance, as he would look at Naruto and say that he thought he had that in the books. But Naruto would just say not to worry about it, that he has this, as he would just tell Sasuke to step aside. Sasuke would put his hand out as he would say, "Naruto, this is my fight." As Naruto would look at Sasuke and say, "You're not going to be able to beat him alone." Sasuke would look at him as he would pull his hand down and say, "But we will." As he would say, "Let's go, Naruto." Naruto would nod, and it's at this point that Jiraiya would pretty much arrive on the scene behind Itachi and Kisame, as Itachi and Kisame just look at Jiraiya's direction, as they would just be like, "Yup, we're getting out of here." But before they even get the chance to, Naruto would immediately blitz right over towards Kisame's direction, as he would smash a gigantic Rasengan straight into Kisame's abdominal area, causing Kisame to get blown into the wall. Now, Itachi would basically get trapped as well, because this is when Jiraiya would use the Toad Mouth Jutsu, as all of them would proceed to get into a gigantic battle. Naruto would rush at Kisame, as Kisame would use his sword to pretty much almost cut Naruto's head clean off, if it wasn't for Naruto's fast reactions, and the fact that he uses Gyo to pretty much anticipate Kisame's movements. That being said though, he would quite literally pick off a tile off of the ground, as he would throw it right at Kisame, as the dust would just kind of go into Kisame's face, and Naruto would quite literally just blitz at him from behind, as he throws a gigantic kick, which Kisame actually ends up blocking with his sword, draining a little bit of chakra from Naruto. Naruto would get blown back, as he would activate his One Tail's cloak and rush back at Kisame, but Kisame is pretty much able to keep up with Naruto, and this would would cause Naruto to get angrier and angrier, causing Naruto to at one point pretty much just decide that, yeah, he's gonna use that power. As Naruto only gets one use like a week pretty much, because that drains a lot of his nen, and he always trains with his nen, so it takes him a while to recover the nen that he uses for this form. So I guess another drawback could be that it takes him about a week to be able to use them in bursts of intermissions. That being said, we would basically just have Naruto blitzing right at Kisame as he would say Jun, Ken, Rock, blowing a straight hole inside of Kisame, as Kisame, he's dead. The man dies. There's zero hope for him. The man Kisame is dead. And also, in case some of you guys are getting like offended, or your ears are being offended by the fact that I'm saying Kisame instead of Kisame, then sorry, but I'm not going to stop doing it. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep doing it just so I continue to aggravate your ears. No, I'm totally kidding. No, but yeah, Kisame, he's done. Kisame, he's pretty much done for. And afterwards, we would basically have a 3v1 with Itachi in the middle. Itachi would begin to get overwhelmed as he would have to resort to the Mangekyo Sharingan, as he would use the Susanoo, causing all of them to get blown back but Naruto. Naruto, being the behemoth and the tank that he is, would stand there as one tail would grow from the back of himself. Actually, no. 4 tails would grow from his back. His eyes would go like a turtle white color, as he would just be staring at Itachi with this blank expression on his face, as he would proceed to quite literally grab Itachi and yank him out of the Susanoo, quite literally punching into it, breaking the Yata mirror, breaking it, shattering the Yata mirror, grabbing Itachi and pulling him out, as he would hold Itachi there for Sasuke to use his Chidori on. And Sasuke would rush at him and use his Chidori as he would impale Itachi straight in the heart. And Itachi would simply cough up blood as he would hold out 2 fingers and slowly start aiming them towards Sasuke, as he would tap Sasuke's head and just be like, "I'm sorry, Sasuke." And Sasuke just basically stands there with the blood of his brother all over him, splattered on his face, and just wondering why it was that those were Itachi's last words, just getting kind of angry at what just happened. We would then basically have Naruto just sitting there just being like, what's going on? And after this, we would just kind of have a Naruto kind of going a little bit berserk. So we would essentially then have Jiraiya having to pretty much snap into his most powerful form in order to be able to hold Naruto off for as long as he could possibly try to hold him off. Jiraiya would basically use his little gigantic Rasengan, as he pretty much throws it at Naruto, causing Naruto to get pretty angry at this and rush at Jiraiya. Jiraiya, though, would actually be able to make Naruto snap back into his senses before he dies, because he would have died, man. Like, Giant Gon is no joke. I'm pretty sure he's the strongest character in the series with adult Gon's form. And if it isn't him, then it's Meruem. But if it isn't him, then he's probably a close second. That being said, though, we would essentially now have everything kind of just falling into line as Naruto kind of passes out, and after this we would essentially have them all just continuing to look for Tsunade. They would pretty much end up giving Naruto about 2 days to rest, where finally they would end up meeting Tsunade inside of a bar, where the encounter is just a little bit different than what it was in canon, only because of the fact that Sasuke's there in this version of events. That's really the only real change that happens. Now, Tsunade, being the type of person that she is and a stinking drunk at the moment, she ends up, of course, talking smack upon the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. And Naruto, being the person that he is, does not like that whatsoever. So Naruto ends up saying something which causes Tsunade to smash her hands on the table, just being like, "What'd you say to me, kid?" As, you know, her and Tsunade get a little heated, and Tsunade and Naruto would step outside. Tsunade would use one finger, as, you know, she's just like, "You're not going to be able to touch me." And Naruto would only use Nen to try to beat Tsunade, as Tsunade is just like, "Yeah, there's no way this kid's going to be able to beat me. You know, I'm too strong, I'm too good, I'm too goated, I'm the legendary Sannin," or so she would be thinking, until out of nowhere, Naruto blitzes behind Tsunade and almost catches her off guard, had it not been for the fact that she destroys the ground, causing Naruto to get thrown off guard. Seeing this, Sasuke would be like, "Oh nah, that's my bro bro right there. Like, you're not finna do not my bro, you know what I mean? And Sasuke would jump in as he would end up helping Naruto out. Now Tsunade would say that he doesn't know a thing, and this is when Naruto would basically go on to get an idea in his head, as he would just proceed to create a gigantic Rasengan in front of Tsunade, which actually catches Tsunade off guard. And he would look at Sasuke as he would nod. Sasuke would proceed to look at Tsunade's direction, as Naruto would pretty much just begin to use his what is it called, his his Hatsu, as he would project his Nen onto Tsunade for just long enough for what's it called, Sasuke to come in from behind her and stab her with his Chidori. Tsunade falls down onto one knee and just coughs out blood, as she would immediately just begin to use her healing jutsu, as she would barely be able to survive this, mind you. And afterwards, we would essentially have Tsunade just be like, I lost. Okay, as you know, she basically ends up having to go back to the Hidden Leaf Village because Naruto pretty much holds her hostage. I mean, he destroyed her in a battle, not single-handedly, of course, because if Tsunade was to use the 100 healings jutsu, she would have quite literally single-handedly stomped this man Saikyu thought. She wouldn't have stomped him, but Naruto would have had to rely on that other form, and he wouldn't have been able to because he just used it, and so he would have lost, like I said. That being said, though, this is when we're going to basically be getting into the little 3-year time skip. Also, guys, if you guys do hear the little police sirens in the background, excuse it. I'm sorry. They're not going to last forever, I promise. But yeah, we would now basically get into Naruto and Sasuke's 3-year time skip. The Sound 4 does try to steal Sasuke and be like, yeah, we're going to kidnap him. There's not a thing you guys can do about it. And there is a thing they can do about it. They're so unbelievably, like, just strong compared to the Sound 4. They're already way stronger than their Valley of the End first fight counterparts. So yeah, there's zero reason why they shouldn't be able to take them all out. And so Sasuke doesn't end up getting taken by Orochimaru. That being said, we would essentially have Sasuke staying in the village, where he would be using the forbidden scroll that Naruto also ends up taking a peek at to learn a certain jutsu. Now this would be the Flying Raijin. At one point, Jiraiya would decide that it's about time that Naruto learns about who his parents are. And when he finds this out, Naruto's like, I wonder if I can master that same jutsu that my old man had. Seeing as Gon revolves around his father, when Naruto finds out that Minato is his dad, Naruto kind of aspires to be a great shinobi like his father as well. And I'm kind of adding that as like a little BS plot, but I mean, kind of just go with it. I mean, it's not really going to affect the story that much. Actually, no, yeah, it will, because now Naruto has the Flying Raijin, and that's extremely broken. But Sasuke actually ended up going on a mission in the Cloud Village area, where he ended up meeting Raikage A during this time. And so he ended up actually realizing, yo, that lightning jutsu thing that pretty much helps him amplify speed, it do be seeming kind of useful. So Sasuke would basically copy it down, and he would end up, of course, still learning all the jutsus that he did with Orochimaru. Naruto's pushing him way further beyond any of those limits, and now Naruto's like a confident 6'2" when it comes to his height. As what? Nah. He's like 14. He's like 15, dude. He's not gonna be 6'2". Let's say he's like 5'11", right? He's like no. He's like 6 foot now. Okay, he's like 6 foot tall, and you know he's like 15 years old. And so everybody's kind of just like, all right, so like, you know, what happens now? And I'm guessing many of you guys wonder, yo, like, what are they gonna do now? Like, Itachi was kind of Sasuke's whole thing, and Naruto left the village in the original arc because of the Akatsuki. After these 3 years of training, they all kind of just decide that, yeah, they're gonna go out there and destroy the Akatsuki. Now Sakura's like, ooh, can I go too? But Naruto and Sasuke are just like, no, trash bag, you stay here. Now Sakura's just like, what do you mean? And of course, they're just like, yeah, you're staying here. Sorry, not happening. After this, we would essentially have Naruto and Sasuke going on to massacre the entirety of the Akatsuki. There's no Gaara retrieval. There is a Gaara retrieval mission. Jesus. Gaara dies. I don't want to do it. I don't want to. Gaara dies. Okay? Yeah. Oh my god, I am feeling so lazy right now. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I really am sorry, but come on, I'm not doing that arc. I refuse to do the Gaara retrieval mission. It has to be one of the worst arcs. Sakura gets screen time. we all know what's gonna happen. No, actually, no, we're not gonna say that that is what happened. And we're just gonna say that they end up going and leaving the village about 1 month prior to Gaara being taken out by the Akatsuki, aka Datara and what's it called? What's that guy's name? The puppet master. Sasori, yeah, Datara and Sasori. And those two are the first two Akatsuki members that they end up slaughtering during their little rampage. Naruto and Sasuke get rid of them because of the fact that, you know, they're hunting down tailed beasts, and you know that can never be good. So it's pretty much their mission. It's like an S-ranked shinobi mission, which they're going to be getting paid very, very handsomely for. For the following next 2 months, they would pretty much begin to track down the Akatsuki members and wipe them out one by one. The hardest one that they actually had to take out was Obito because of his ability to phase through things. But Naruto, using his Hatsu, was actually able to paralyze Obito just long enough. He would use Ren to power up his aura and pretty much project it onto, what's it called? And he would pretty much just project it onto Obito, stunning him just long enough for Sasuke to pretty much be able to stab Obito right in the chest, causing Obito to not die but get weakened pretty heavily. And after this, they pretty much ended up just pretty much destroying all the strong shinobi which could have potentially stood in their way, which means that neither Sasuke nor Naruto actually end up getting that Sage with 6 Paths. Naruto doesn't need it. He pretty much already has the equivalent to it with the fact that he's Gon's reincarnation and has Nen. And when it comes to Sasuke, I mean, the man is pretty strong. He's pretty broken, you know what I mean? He's pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much where What If Naruto Was Gon's Reincarnation is going to be wrapping up. When it comes to those last final battles, if you guys really do want me to cover that part, I suppose I could probably make like a little 10-minute video, which would be like a little bit of a separate like What If Naruto like was Gon's Reincarnation. If you guys really want me to get into that, I could, but I would really need a lot of people to say that they would want to see that, and I highly doubt that that's gonna happen. So yeah, just kind of assume what you guys think would happen when it comes to that battle, because that's pretty much where we're going to be wrapping up What If Naruto Was Gon's Reincarnation. I hope you guys went on to enjoy the video, and if you did, or if you have any comments or suggestions, please make sure to leave them down below in the comment section down below, as well as let me know if I messed up anything when it comes to Nen. I'll definitely be reading those comments so that the next time I make a Hunter x Hunter related video, I won't make those same mistakes. That being said though, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe if you like my content, and leave a like on the video, seeing as it helps a ton, like a ton, with YouTube's weird wacky algorithm. That being said though, guys, I love each and every single one of you guys. It has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.